それでは参戦する21名のドライバーをここでご紹介いたしましょう。まずは Card number 71 from Belarus, Sak Sergey.
Next is car number 52 from China. Chen Wenchen.
Mr. Keiichi Tsuchiya, Honorary Event Advisor.
Drifting is the art of making a car go sideways. Born on the winding mountain roads of Japan in the 1970s, enthusiasts would compete in illegal time trials called toge. The drivers became known as the Zoku and were soon renowned for their daring maneuvers as they danced cars down the public roads in an effort to score the best time. Over 40 years, the discipline has evolved from a time trial to a precision driving display. It is now hugely popular, and the events are no longer run outside of the law. Having become a national sport in Japan, drifting is now crossing borders and winning millions of fans around the world. The most famous of the Zoku is Kishi Tsuchiya, nicknamed the Drift King. In his youth, he looked up to the great Kunimitsu Takahashi, a hero of motorsport on 2 and 4 wheels, who inspired a love of drifting in the young Tsuchiya with his spectacular car control. Determined to make his dream a reality, Kishi Tsuchiya organized the first event devoted entirely to the drift in 1988 with the backing of auto magazines. The public responded with great enthusiasm, and where the spectators go, the sponsors follow. Professional drifting was born. Drifting is a technique where the driver intentionally causes the car to oversteer by braking the traction of rear, or sometimes all 4 tires, while maintaining control all the way around a corner. There are typically 2 sessions at a drift event, individual runs called solo, and the finals are tandem runs referred to as battle. Drivers must slide their cars through a designated course while they're judged on their speed, the angle of their drifts, and of course their overall driving skills. Clipping points are marked on the circuit, and drivers must slide the rear wheels of the car through them to score maximum points.
Round, I tried to win.
So I'm Yves Meyer from Switzerland. I'm very excited to be at the home of drifting in Japan. Let's go for it.
皆さんこんにちは、ラビー西田です。I'm Robbie Nishida. Welcome to the second annual FIA Intercontinental Drifting Cup. This is a time that everybody's been waiting for. This is a big leap for drifting. Let's see who's going to take the top spot this weekend. Check it out. 見逃すな。
FIA Intercontinental Drift Challenge with Tangu Jan. Lovely to meet you. Just here to ask you a few questions.
Gocha for sure. You're talking about kawabata. Really good.
Yeah. And you're here driving Saito Dago's well-prepared JZX100 here.
Yes, we're doing D1 China this year, so the schedule's so tight we couldn't ship our car over, and we thought if we were going to come out here, better come out with a good car. I was quite surprised. I mean, the first time driving it took me 3 laps to get used to it, and it's so easy to drive. And
so we moved along and we're here with the 2 times 2017 and 2018 Russian Drift Series champion, Gocha, from Siberia. How are you doing today, and are you enjoying the event?
Yes, sure, I'm enjoying the event. Nice to see many international drivers, many Japan drivers, big event, good experience. Yeah.
So who do you think is your biggest competition? Who would you most like to beat today?
In Japan, all driver, big challenge for me, because everybody very high level driver, and interesting to drive with that. Very fast switches, fast initiation, everything good.
Everything's high level, yeah.
Yeah, I like Japan style. I built my car with Japan style, and I tried driving same.
Okay, so about your car, you can see it's a Nissan S15. What's the engine inside, and how much power do you have?
Yes, this is S15 SR20 engine, V8 head, 700 horsepower, Borg Warner turbo, Mali pistons crankshaft. I like my SR because car very good handling. I try use Sliver with another engines, good power, good torque, okay, but handling so-so. And I keep my engine every year growing up a level to build the engine, and I'm happy to be there with my SR.
Well, I'm a big fan of the SR, and I'm a big fan of the car, so we wish you the best of luck in the competition, and we'll speak to you afterwards. See you again soon.
Thank you.
Now that all the drivers are warmed up, it looks like everybody's dialed in. Let's not make you wait any longer. We're going to go straight into qualifying, which is going to determine the lineup for the later battles that we have today.
Hey, good morning, everyone. At least morning. Tokyo time.
Quick. The track is like 11 meters wide, so all the show is going just in front of you.
Yeah, they've designed the layout here at Odaiba to give maximum viewage to every single person.
And it looks like we're about to get started with the solo runs Group A. The first runner we have got Deshapan Toing Charan from Thailand.
Okay, so first driver, Thai. This car, GT86 Toyota with a Nissan GTR engine. Okay, here we go, the first run. All the way to the outside of the track. Great first run from Pon. as he's known. He does have a very long name. He shortens it to Pon when he comes to Japan. He ran also yesterday, so he's had a long weekend. Friday practice, Saturday competition, also Sunday today in the FIA. So a great first run.
Also, would be great to say that the score is split into 4 places. It's 30 points for the line, 30 points for the style, 30 points for the angle, and 10 points for the speed. The speed is divided into 2 parts, the initiation and overall average speed. The style is in commitments and fluidity. The angle is about the angle, the amount of it, but the car cannot be with huge angle with which it will be slowing down, but it cannot have like too small angle just to trying to evade from the opponent then in the battles. And line is nicely said, what we said during the beginning with the track layout.
And we have actually got quite a lot of involvement from the human judges who are going to be judging those 3 or 4 aspects, as you mentioned.
Yes, we have 3 judges. One is Ryan Lantain from Canada. He's judging Formula Drift. Then we have Dmitry Dobrovolsky from RDS from Russia. And then we have Kamimoto-san from D1GP. So very skilled judges. We will see the judging just right now. Yeah, the scoring on the angle is quite low. He got almost maximum on the speed. The line, he also lost some points there.
You do have a minimum entry speed, right, David?
Yeah, they have minimum entry speed, and then they have different levels on average speed. So if you are above the entry speed which is given, then you have a 5 points the speed what you got. So he got like 5 points for the initiation and 4 points for the rest.
Okay, and our second solo runner, we have got Sak Sergey from Belarus.
Okay, our second driver now, Belarusian Sak Sergey. Here we go, here's his entry out along the wall. Once again, a bit of a shallower line than we just saw from Pon. Pon was actually really good for a first run. This Toyota GT86 through the course, now into the in section. Watch the flick back here. Yeah, a little bit slow there on the flick. What the judges want to see is when they change direction on these cars, it's quick and aggressive and violent. And Sergey over the finish line. Not a bad first run.
Yeah, but he initiated nicely, close to the wall, but then he lost too much speed, so he was pushed inside. So this is like definitely what the line judge do not want to see in the first corner.
Yeah, unfortunately for these guys, but fortunately for us, the most dangerous line is the best judge line.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also the line which is most likely to result in a crash.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I was quite surprised that there was only 1 crash during the practice during the last 3 days. So this is good, and also shows the level of the driving here.
That's right. It's good to see that these guys can come out straight away with not a whole lot of practice compared to probably what they're used to, and throw it down as hard as they can right now.
Well, a lot of these racers have been here since Friday, I believe, with 3 points. Okay, so a 5-point improvement on Pong, who was the first runner today for the solo runs.
It's nicely visible that for 71, I'm not sure if it would be enough.
Okay, now we've got our second Thai runner today, Chanatpom Kurd PM. Let's see how he does.
All right, next run now, the Lexus IS.
We got Kurd PM.
Here comes the entry, quite slow on the entry.
Oh.
And a straighten up there. Now this course, the course surface, it is not...
It looks there is some problem with differential because the smoke was coming only from 1 wheel.
So he may have broken a drive shaft.
Yeah, drive shaft or
something like that.
Yeah,
the problem with this course is it is a car park generally. It's not the flattest of surfaces. So like a street course, there are issues involved with that. One of which is because of the bumps on here and the huge grippy tires that these guys run, it can break drive shafts very easily.
Grip of tires was raised a lot by Japanese. Like they bring so grippy tires that other world just need.
Like this is a full-on 0 for Chanatpom Kurd PM.
So a 0 for him.
Hopefully he will be able to repair the car for the next run.
He could be able to. Yeah.
Okay, and next we have got Feng Jiangqi representing Taiwan.
Right, here we go, next run now.
Now let's see how he does.
Take a very wide line on the entry towards the wall.
Ooh.
That was scary to watch, but he's managed to pull it off. He needs to keep a nice clean angle. He's doing it fairly well. You want to see the cars hold that angle cleanly and not wobble around. Okay, here comes the transition back. Okay, he's coming down the middle of the track, not really getting those clipping points that well on the inside.
I would say that from our perspective, it's very hard to say to how close view from their judging tower. So we will definitely need to believe them, because here we can see like all the car, but where is the exact position?
Got the score here, 66. The speed, he scored very low on the speed, it looks like.
Yeah, because he slowed down a lot before the wall. It looks that he gets slightly scared. But if I would be there on his position.
2 runs.
And now we have got the Japanese drifter Masato Kalibata. Yeah, the grand champion of drifting. Now this should be exciting to watch.
He took out the championship a couple of years ago for Darren Grand Prix. Here comes the first run, the GTR VR38. Huge, look at the speed difference. All the way to the edge of the wall.
Freewheeling.
That came very close to scraping the wall right there.
Look at the smoke coming off the GTR, screaming that 3.8 litre.
Like yesterday he had issues with the car, but it looks that all issues are completely gone. The car is working perfectly. Very nice run by Kawabata.
I want to see what the speed score is for that run. It's such a big, heavy car. Getting a round of applause from the audience. Look at this entry here, 90 degrees along the wall, out to the outer zone. He's ticking all the boxes. He's
safe running in the first run, and then they're smoking it.
And David, we have got our score, 76, a whopping 26 on style. Not as much as I thought it was going to be. He scored a bit low on angle, it looks like.
Yeah, that's not the kind of angle we generally see from Kawabata usually.
Now, his figures are way lower than Kawabata. A lot of 3s in his case, whereas with Kawabata it was all 5, as you mentioned earlier.
Well, I mean, stats can be one thing, but the results speak for themselves.
Definitely.
So here comes our next Hyundai Genesis with a Hyundai engine, so an all-Korean entry here. Quite shallow on the entry, taking a middle line.
Yeah, but if we speak about the grip, this car is not prepared to hand that much grip like the other cars. So he was like fighting with it a lot. It doesn't mean that he's not a good driver, but the setup is completely different than he's driving normally with.
Yeah, see, one of the reasons why the FIA is being our Korean driver after going completely off the track. He does have one more run to make up for it though. So we'll see him out again. Hopefully he can make some adjustments, maybe adjust his tyre pressures.
Okay, and now we're going to move on.
Car S14 Sylvia.
With Boss kit.
With a Boss kit on it. It's designed to look like a retro Nissan. Very popular kit. Very smooth run so far from the first Russian competitor. All the way out to the edge of the wall. This is a great run. Very smooth, very stylish. Watch the flick back in the transition. Not quite as hard as we'd like to see, but still very smooth. Hits the outer zone there, all the way out over the finish line. Ilya Fedorov from Russia, and flooring it over the finish line. Ones who like to use them. Here we have a score.
Yes, we do. 82. We have got the top score for today. He beat Masato Kalibata fair and square in this first run, scoring 10 on speed. That is impressive.
You know, the Vladivostok boys like the street races of Russia, because Japanese cars are so popular over there.
And we've got Tong, who is going to be taking part in the course again.
And he needs to beat his score to be really in top 16.
Okay, second run from Pon. The anti-lag system firing shotgun blasts around the corner, all the way to the edge of the track, smoking it up. This car, big engine, small chassis, very fast, nimble car. Always does well in tandems. As he flicks it back, going
to the
all the way out to the outside.
Nice.
They're running the line. There you go. Great run from Pon. And over the finish line, flooring it over the finish line once again for that little bit of appeal to the crowd. Drawing a big round of applause.
You just really need to drive that car on throttle, like all the time, staying on the throttle, then the car behaves well. And I think this time he really did it. He was staying on the throttle, nicely tightly around the wall, coming into the inside clips.
Yeah, of course,
being
able to hold the accelerator down for a long time is a very important part of appealing to human judges. It shows that you're on throttle for the whole time, means that you're very confident in your run. The car is planted. If you're sort of on and off the throttle, it shows that you don't have 100% control. But yeah, just then Pon, as you said, really hard on throttle for most of the track. And right to the edge.
That was like really cool.
That was a cool looking end to the run there.
And, and we have got a score of 80. Not quite first place, but a way better run than his first run.
So a score of 80 there.
He's only trailing Ilya at this point.
Big improvement.
Once again got Sergey from Belarus, who's going to give the course another go.
Second run now as he approaches the entry to the course. He needs to go a bit faster than he did last time. So, whoa, big flick on the entry there. It's a full angle straight away. Very deep into the course. He has to shallow up a bit to avoid hitting the wall.
Yeah, that was, he really needed to go from the wall.
Losing a lot of speed there, big understeer. This run is starting to fall apart for Sergey. Manages to pull it together in the end, gets that outer clipping zone over the finish line, finishing the run right, but a couple of big mistakes. Entering well, finishing well, but the middle bit there. Let's have a look at this once again.
I think that we can call this qualification run over from this moment when he's coming just too much to the wall, then he was trying to pull it, and then he's completely on the wrong line. He needs to brake a lot to get into the second outer zone, and then that was like even a bigger mistake. But everything was caused already in the first corner.
Yeah, it was a cascading series of problems there. The problem with drifting is if you make a big mistake on your entry, it can affect the entire run. There's not much time to recover. Of course, as you can see, the course is quite short. Drifting courses tend to go for less than a minute long.
Yep, 56. Not much in there. It was an even lower score than his first run.
I think that he can be happy with 56 for that run.
For that, Chanatpam Kurt PM from Thailand. Let's hope he can complete the course in one piece this time around.
All right, second run now.
Here we go.
Huge entry. He's going to cut the inside of the course. Wow, just saving it. Just barely saving it.
It's very hard to calculate where you need to exactly initiate to have that best initiation. And he just initiated too early, lost the speed, and then he needed to cut in to do not straight.
Managing to salvage that run and complete it though. The 2JZ howling over the finish line. That entry though, very aggressive run. Watch this.
Indeed.
Flicking it very hard.
If he just moved that initiation like a few meters further, it would be just amazing on the wall.
Knock that cone down over
unfortunately,
there.
he did not, and he really cut it in, and he will wait for the speed. Actually, the speed is only one thing which is not judged by the judges.
Right.
It's judged by the EDS.
And I believe we got one of our reporters, Greg, who is reporting live from the field. And here's the score. Not so bad, actually. 62. He scored a pretty good score on style, 22. Well, it sure was a lot better than his first run.
So he was still able to keep the speed. That's very good.
Yes.
But as we said, he lost a lot of points in the line because he just really cut it too much.
But still, honestly, I am full of respect for any racer who's even able to complete this course. But then again, that's why they're professional drifters.
That's why they've been invited here to the IDC.
From Taiwan, who is going to be running the course a second time. Let's see if he can give it a better run.
Second run now for the S15 Sylvia. Running the 2JZ, one of the best combinations currently in the drifting world. Nice speed on the entry, a little bit shallow though. He's running out very wide. He's trying to get to the outer clipping zone. He manages to get that. Holding a nice clean angle. He's not wobbling around a whole lot. Slowing down for the technical part of the course. In clip again. This is technically a good run so far for Feng Zhenqi to the outer zone once again. Technically very good.
But the question is if technically very good would be enough. You know, you need to be here great to have some nice score. So technically it was okay, but it was not spectacular. And we really want to see something spectacular here from those drivers.
Unfortunately, in drifting, time is not the only thing that matters, and your position on the grid is not the only thing that matters. You need to show some style.
Third place overall.
77, third overall so far.
But let's see if he can do even better on his second run today.
Yeah, he came second in this year's D1 Grand Prix Series just last night. He's out for revenge. There we go. That's the kind of angle we like to see. Very deep. That's a bit of a wall kiss right
the
there.
wall.
Kawabata pulling out all the stops here. Shifting down, flooring it, in clip, out clip. Slowing down a bit though, but that entry there, very aggressive. That's the first time we've seen a wall tap so far in qualifying.
So what do you think? Did he show to the judges this is the right way to go?
Well, let's see.
So.
Let's see how they determine that.
Look at this.
Those things more.
Look at the rear of the car. Bit of a wall tap there.
Yeah.
But wall tap is nice.
Wall tap is fine.
You can kiss, you cannot smash.
That's it. Of course, it gets you a lot of points with the crowd when you get that aggressive and that crazy. I mean, can you imagine this car?
And here we go, 85. We have got a new top scorer for today. He has beat Ilya's 82 to become the top scoring runner. Wouldn't expect anything less from the Drift King himself.
Kawabata always showing a high level of skill in tandem now.
Okay.
So show us some nice points now.
Now let's see how Mr. Young does here in his second run.
So hopefully he's made some adjustments to his car, maybe adjust his tire pressures and dampers to try and get a bit more front grip out of this car. Here comes the entry. Okay, he's taking it fairly safe. This is not bad so far. Quite shallow, but look, he needs to at least complete the run and keep it nice and clean, setting himself up for the infield part of the course, running wide there to the outer zone.
He's just really fighting with the car.
In clip.
It's visible
big,
that he
big
don't believe
wobble
the
there
car.
too, a big wobble under angle. So basically, if you see these guys coming through the corner, they should be holding their angle nice and steady. If you see them sort of rotating around, wobbling around, that.
And here we know it's at 36.
Around the world.
We have a -10 penalty there.
Yes.
David, what is that for? Do you know?
Oh.
Did he run?
Actually, I'm not sure. It can be during the track. I saw one wheel up there, and also you need to keep the car on the line after the finish. So that was also the possibility.
Oh, maybe he made a
And
mistake
we
at
have
the end of the line.
Oh, we have got Mr. Ilya Fedorov giving the course his second run.
So second run for Ilya Fedorov. Very
Nice
fast.
and
Wow,
smooth.
look at the speed of this car.
Yeah.
A lot of speed for Fedorov. Our first Russian
Zipping through
driver.
it.
Being very aggressive on the accelerator, revving very high, keeping the revs right up. Very responsive car. This is a very well balanced setup. It looks like perfectly set up for this layout. Okay, it's just a replay of Fedorov. Nice entry there.
Very early initiation.
Flicks the angle and then just holds it steady all the way around the long right-hand sweeper.
But what I saw in the first zone, he did not come into the first zone from the beginning. He just come somewhere in the 1/3. So there he will lose something. But otherwise, in the style, I would say that he will get a lot of score in the style.
So if you're wondering what this car is, it's a Nissan S14 Silvia, sold in Europe as the 200SX. To make it even more
And here's the score, 83. Couldn't quite match Kawabata's score, but still a very impressive score nonetheless. Online, but there's also another.
This car was so smashed. Like, he even pulled the throttle when he was in the wall, and you can hear the cracking, like, from 100 meters away.
Oh, from Yokoi's car?
Yeah. It was quite serious thing, but they repaired it pretty nicely.
Okay,
Looks
here we go.
slightly like missile car.
Oh, well, you know, Yokoi, one of the hardest people on cars in professional drifting. There's never a time. I'd say he has a lot of mechanical issues. There's never been an event where he doesn't have some sort of major mechanical issue. He's very hard on his cars, but he has a very dedicated team who is sort of prepared for that. They know how he is on cars. Have to change a clutch, all of a sudden have to change an entire front end, suspension, etc. when he crashes, but manages to get it out there.
Actually, the car looks like more like after end of the events, not at the start of it.
Yeah, it looks like it's been through an entire event, not starting out. So
now in the B group, 5 out of our 7 vehicles are running Nissan cars.
That's right. We have a Toyota and a Nissan apart from. A Toyota and a BMW apart from our Nissans.
Oh, and speak of the devil, here he is, Mr. Masashi Yokoi himself. Looks like the car is ready to go. Let's see how he does.
Your boy Yokoi about to throw it down here at Odaiba for FIA IDC. Here comes his first run, up through the gears, already very high speed. Not the most aggressive run, but look at this, out towards the wall, and colliding with the wall once again.
And it's a repeat of his practice run this morning.
Exactly the same place. Exactly the same place.
Exactly
What
the same
we
place.
saw from him from the training before, he was like one of the most committed drivers to the wall. He was like scraping it run after run after run.
All right, so we are back. Course is clear. Mohammed Zaham Hamdan for his first qualifying run.
It's not an easy name.
No, it's not. He was here in last year's FIA event as well. Looks like he's done a lot of work to the car. Wow, he's driving much more aggressively than he was last year.
And also way more aggressively than
back
in the first trainings. He was like quite fighting with the car, but it looks that he really found it out. So now we can look on the replay how he initiated for the first corner and the first zone.
Well, let's watch this replay. So
can be like slightly closer to the wall.
I think after that, what we just saw with Yokoi, I can't blame him. Look, this is only his first qualifying run. Like we said before, it does it makes sense. It might not be the most exciting thing to watch, but it makes sense for these guys to be slightly conservative on their first run. If he could
really on the wall, especially in the first corner and also in second out, you can receive like 10 points out of 30 for that zone, so that's a lot.
Okay, and now we have got Charles Ng from Hong Kong, our one and only runner from Hong Kong, who's quite a formidable presence in the FIA circuit.
That's right. He has competed the entire season here in Japan for D1 Grand Prix. Improved a lot on this car. Very aggressive first run. There we go, out towards the wall, feathering the throttle a bit just to get the car further out, showing a high level of control. Through the course, feathering that throttle, keeping the power down, keeping the weight of the car on the rear to have as much grip as possible. A lot of wobbles there though, Charles Ng. This car seems to be fairly peakily set up. Very responsive car, but also a little bit wobbly there.
As I know Kamimoto-san, I think that he will not be happy about that changing of the angle. He will be like deducting for that. Even overall, the angle is not bad. That corrections of the angle are taken like very seriously here.
Yeah. So what we're talking about there when we...
Oh, and here's the score. We've got 75, not too shabby, but he did score very low on speed.
And
the first time we've seen a Mozambican, I think that's the correct word, driver.
I believe so.
I never saw any driver there.
First entry, here we go, Richard. Taking a middle line. This is the sort of tactic we've seen from guys who are not 100% sure about the course. They just want to get one run down to keep it clean, but it seems to be pretty good so far for Richard. Flicking it back there, a little bit of an understeer, like what we just saw. Gets to that outer zone. Once again, in a clip, and flicks it back over the finish line. Not a bad first run for Richard from Mozambique.
See that we have good drifters there.
Oh, and here's the score. Not that great, unfortunately. 61. He scored the highest in line, which has been quite unusual, but unfortunately only a 5 on speed.
Yeah, Richard, his first run. Dead-powered S15 Sylvia. Look at the speed all the way out to the wall.
Oh,
nice.
beautiful.
Manages to pull up in time, showing a high level of control. This is typical driving for Fujino. Look at this, maintaining his speed. Holding a nice clean angle, clean line. Watch the flick back here. There you go, winds on the angle fairly late though, but gets into that outer zone. There we go. But that entry though, the best part of the course, the most important part of the course.
Look how this car have a grip. At every time he pushes the front, the car moves. Like you can see that the car really moves forward. That's really good. The setup of the car is good. The grip of the tires is perfect. So he's like really using those skills of the car to...
Right, there we go, score.
And here we go, 82. A tie for the third highest score today, but unfortunately still not quite enough to beat Masato Kalibata's 85. And now we got from Russia, Georgy Chivchan, our second Russian driver for today.
This guy is dangerous.
This guy
like
is
serious.
He's dangerous. He's a dangerous looking man. He drives a dangerous car. Here comes the entry. Look at the speed.
Oh.
Our second Russian driver. Bit of a wobble there though. Bit of a correction though, but look at this, picks it up straight away. The raw speed of this car, wow. Down through the bottom half of the course, flooring it. Huge amount of grip. Gocha from Russia. Wow, look at that aggressive flick over the finish line. He looks like he's feeling good. Let's watch this entry again. Bit of a mistake. Only one thing. Look at this. A bit of a straighten there.
It's not straighten, it's correction. But yeah, it is a mistake. But then he's like using all the power from that four-banger 2.2 or 2.3 liter engine. So it's quite small engine for drifting world, but he's using it all.
And certainly recovered very nicely after that one small blip. I mean,
it's visible that the Europeans, Russians, Americans are more used to drive with the lines and zones than the Japanese are not that much used to it. So I think those guys
got a new high score, 88 points from Georgi
Chipchan. You can see that gocha really used that advantage that he's really used to drive with the lines, with the zones, with the clipping points, because he was like really on them, and he about that. But this time we have also few guys who can like still change it.
We take a small detour to Swiss racer
in Latvian car,
Mr. Yves Meyer. In a Latvian car.
Latvian-built car, Yves Meyer from Switzerland. Huge angles are going to be a spin.
That was a beautiful angle.
And he cuts off the course. No, it was way too much. That's the problem. It looks good, but unfortunately, it was not controllable. Yves Meyer, is that going to be a 0, David?
I think so, unfortunately. And when we were speaking about LS engines, this is like LS-based engine from Mass Motorsport. This V8 have like 900 horsepower and 9,000 RPM.
Is that naturally aspirated?
Naturally aspirated.
Right, so big engine in this car. So sliding out, this looked like it was really good under the camera. Perpendicular to the wall, unfortunately not controllable. Straightening up, going off the inside of the course, reinitiating again because, I mean, it feels a bit different. The front end feels different, the rear end feels different. That can just throw you off.
And of course, nothing numbs your reflexes quicker than fear.
And also, from the training, we saw that he maybe debated or tough.
We've got a 0, although he did score quite well in all categories.
So a good score overall, but David, the course out there resulting in a 0, that's right?
Yeah.
So you have to keep the car on course.
Like anyways, you know, if there is huge mistake like this, it's over. Like in this competition, you are not able to continue.
For you to win.
Okay, and now we have got our next racer. Nope. Looks like there was a wrong call here. We have got, once again, Mr.
It's Muhammad Hamdan Haizam.
Yes.
Whoa! Look at this entry here. He pulled the handbrake very early. Wow, huge speed on the entry. That was an unusual sort of entry for him there, but we'll have to watch that again on the replay.
He was just close to the wrong line. You need to be close on the opposite side. So again, losing some score for the line. Why is line so important? The reason behind that, if you want to have like good battles, then it's important to have right line.
So look at this. Entering the course, pulling the handbrake very, very early, but not getting the rear of the car out. He kind of had another go at it. Going down the middle of the course, a middle line. That's a great shot there with the smoke pouring off the rear of the 2JZ-powered Toyota IS. But smoke...
You got the score 68, not too bad. I mean, you scored a perfect 10 on speed and an impressive 21 on style.
An improvement over his first run.
And here you can see it, it was like not that strict.
Right.
And now we got the second run from Mr. Charles Ng. Let's see if he can beat a score of 75 that he achieved the first time around.
The second run for Charles Ng. I get the feeling that Charles can improve on it. Here we go, nice long sideways entry out to the wall. Wow, great out of line there for Charles Ng. This is looking like a really good run so far. Keeping his speed up, keeping his momentum. Down through the bottom part of the course. Look at him rocketing out of that bottom part of the course, the slowest part, flicking out, getting that inner clip, getting that outer clip, hanging it out all the way over the edge of the track. Spectacular second run for Charles Ng. Very good flow. Let's watch the replay.
That was quite impressive.
Watch this. He holds that angle. Look at this clean angle all the way out to the edge of the track. You can see him start to get on the accelerator to keep the car off the edge of the wall, using the responsiveness of that naturally aspirated V8 engine. Then just floors it. Look at this consistent angle all the way. Look at that, barely rotating at all.
This is like driver from D1 China and from this year also D1 Japan.
That's right.
So you have like a lot of seat time.
Yeah, Charles has a lot of seat time in drifting this year especially. He 100% committed to D1 China and the D1 Grand Prix Series here in Japan, driving this exact car. He was out yesterday in competition in this car. Getting that line, that in-clip and out-clip, I don't think we've seen anyone get those two in-clips and out-clips on that last part of the course as good as Charles has done so far.
Oh, 85, not quite the top score, but a tie for the second best score so far today. He tied Masato Kalibata's 85, but couldn't quite match gocha. Mozambican representative, Mr. Richard Khan.
Second run now for Richard Khan, about to head out in the S14 Sylvia. We go up through the gears. Here comes the initiation. You can see the black lines on the ground, the sort of average initiation point. It takes a very... Okay, this is looking like a fairly average run so far. Initiating average at the average point, taking a middle line. This is not a time to go easy. Missing that in-clip there. Richard Khan, a fair way off the clips. Just driving it down the middle of the track. He needed to get a lot more aggressive with the course. He needed to grab the course.
And to see, just after the finish, he was like going with one wheel off the track. So
Right. First score, but still not quite up to snuff.
But it was far enough, the wheel off was far enough that the judges were not counting it.
Okay.
Because they were
That's
saying
good.
on the briefing that they are watching the car till the exactly know the position till where they're counting.
And now we got Mr. Hideyuki Fujino from Japan, who is going to give this course another go. He scored 82 the first time around. Let's see if he can go further.
We're looking for high 80s here for Fujino. Once again, out towards the wall. Not quite as deep as he went last time. Looks like he's improved his speed a bit, though. He's holding a lot of speed into the bottom part of the course. Watch his driving around the hairpin, the flick back here. I don't think this is going to be much of an improvement on his first run. I've got to be honest, he didn't really get those clips as well. No, this is not as good as his first run for Gino. Maybe not really sure on how to improve, made quite a few mistakes.
Yeah, what we saw is that this is like completely D1 style, like really hard initiation, which I really like. But afterwards, they are not working that much with the zones and with the inside clips, where he will be losing something. And we also need to wait for the score from Kamimoto-san about the...
Oh, 86. So we have got
So
our
where do we-
second best score for today. But
You
the
can-
score to beat is still Gocha's 88.
You can see that he really repaired the angle thing, and
Right.
this is what we
Yeah,
cannot
he
see
did, he
from
did.
here. So he did get those points mainly on the angle thing, and that's good for him. He just was told by the spotter what he needs to do, and he done it.
There you go.
And now we've got Georgi Chivchan from Russia, our current top score holder, with his second Tanso run.
Gocha from Russia, his second run. Is he going to go even harder? Yes, he is throwing it deep in, out towards the wall.
beautiful.
Whoa. The spectators are getting their money's worth today. Look at this run. Gocha once again banging it off the limiter. He's got this car at 100% for the entire run. Out nice and deep into the corners, flicks it back, and over the finish line.
Oh, that was
We're getting
a
lot
beautiful
of,
run.
We're getting a round of applause and woos. I can hear,
There's a lot of
whoops
cheering.
coming
I can
around
hear
here.
people going woo all around me. Look at this, 90 degrees towards the wall.
And you know, this
Barely
is
scraping
all
it by.
drifting about. You know, these times when you want to get up from the chair, applause
Yeah.
and cheer. This is drifting about. I really like those times when you can really feel the emotions.
It's a great first run. See if we can hear this. I couldn't quite hear it, but he said, I'm going to guess what he said. I'm going to go even harder in battles. Look at this run from Gocha.
Like you said, he's a hard-looking guy who goes hard when he drifts.
Oh, yeah.
And he does not disappoint, that's for sure.
So he's been driving, I believe he's been driving this particular chassis for a long time now too. And so this setup, Gocha is very used to it. He drives it in Russia as well, in the Russian Drift Series.
He's like really serious competitor. If you want to choose with someone who you want to battle with, I would not choose him.
I would not choose. If I was up against him on the first one, I'd probably just I'd tell the boys, warm up the toe.
Oh, and we have got 95.
First,
and Gocha scored a perfect 30 online.
Amazing run from Gocha.
Well deserved applause.
Definitely. And Gocha has now got the top 2 scores in the solo runs thus far.
Yeah, that's you're right there. He scored an 88, so he was holding first place before. Now he has a 95, so he went from first place to first to even more first place.
Mm-hmm. That's a good phrase, to even more first place.
He's the most first.
He's the mostest firstest, I guess.
He's currently, if you look at all the scores, he's currently in first and second place.
And now we've got Yves Meyer from Switzerland. Let's see if he can give it a stronger run this time around.
Second run from our Swiss driver, this BMW. Up through the gears. Deep towards the wall. Out towards the second wall as well. Fairly late though, but still managing to get it out there nice and deep. Into the bottom part of the course, the hairpin. Dropping revs a bit, but springing out of the corner as the car grips up, gets that in clip, gets that out clip. Overall, a clean run. Great looking car too. Don't spin it. And over the finish line with big angle.
That's way better than the first run.
Definitely.
What we can see here, he was like way more careful with the initiation and the first outside zone.
Yeah.
But then he just pulled it
again, so that may be a retire.
I think it might be, because we now got... Oh, and we have got a score of 88. Well done, Yves Meyer. He has tied the second top score today. Gocha's original 88.
Unfortunately, Yoko is out of the game. Unfortunately, Yoko is out of the game. This is really unfortunate message. We were really eager to see his battles.
I really wanted to see Yokoi. Yeah, Yokoi having a lot of bad luck this year in the season. Coming in the D1 Grand Prix season, coming fairly high in the points overall. He was out here last year in an R34 two-door, which had a 2JZ engine. It was a long stroke. It's easy to blow them, but he switched to the brand new twin-turbo V6.
Okay, and now our first runner in Group C, we have got Tengku Janlei from Malaysia.
JZX.
So a JZX 100, very popular chassis here in Japan amongst grassroots drifters. This one, a bit more aggressive than most. Hitting the wall once, twice, straightening the car up. That's going to be a big deduction in points there for those 2 collisions. Tengku Janlei, JZX 100.
This is how you drive borrowed car.
This is how you drive a borrowed car. This particular car, originally built by Daigo Saito. If you've been into drifting for a few years, you probably know who Daigo Saito is. This was his famous car he built back in the day that was almost 100% illegal under D1 Grand Prix rules. He's had to sort of tone it back a bit. So 1 hit of the wall, 2 hits of the wall, straightening the car up, which pushes the rear end back around. He reinitiates.
Yeah, but...
Oh, the fat, yeah.
If you want to go back to the 80s or something.
A rap group from the 80s.
A rap group from the 80s, like Heavy Boys, Heavy D and the Boys.
Right.
And then we got the Fat Five.
Supported by Fat Five.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we see 1 collision, 2 collisions. Of course, colliding with the rear end pushes the car around.
Very lucky that he did not end up in the wall like Yokoi.
That could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse because the long rear end on these cars gives them a bit more of a chance to, once the rear end hits and it starts to come around, you have a few more milliseconds of time to recover from that. Because the S15's short rear end, very peaky sort of body. If you hit the rear end on an S15 Sylvia, it's going to come around on you.
There's also a big difference between drift cars nowadays and years before. Everybody now is like making bendable rear end that if you will hit something, it just bends and you can continue. But before, that was like a lot of like bash bars there. If you hit it, it turns you and you smash the car into the pieces.
Oh, and unfortunately it's a 0. He scored quite well overall, but there was the penalty, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's it. So unfortunately for Tengku, it's going to be a 0 for his first run. Hopefully they can get that repaired. It should be okay. They might have a look at the alignment on the rear end just to make sure it's straight for his second run. But he will be out for his second run. It's safe to say.
The thing with Zero is that here, like, slight straightening is still taken like correction, but this was taken like huge straightening, which is taken like incomplete.
Okay, now we have got our Japanese racer, Mr. Naoto Suenaga.
So Naoto Suenaga from the world-famous Team Orange. They've been involved in drifting for a long time. Naoto, this car, 2JZ S15, the great combination. Huge throw in there. Naoto Suenaga keeping his speed up very high. This is his first qualifying run, going in very hard. He was out here yesterday as well in D1 Grand Prix. The flick back there, a little bit of a mild kind of flick there. He could have been much more aggressive. That's going to be a tire over the edge of the track as well. So a little bit of a hit and miss run there for Naoto Suenaga on his first run. Let's watch the replay. Yeah, nice angle though.
It's really nice to see the difference between drivers. Every driver have like different style, and this is like really Japanese. Like this type of initiation, you really can.
For second if it weren't for the deducted points, but still a very impressive run from the veteran Naoto Suenaga.
As it was said, those -2 points is that one wheel off at outside zone 3. Unfortunately for that.
And now we have got our first Chinese racer today, Mr. Chen Wenqian, I believe is how it's spelled.
So next driver, Sheng Wenqian in the Nissan S15 Silvia. Here comes the entry. Here we go, out towards the wall. Big angle, a bit too much. He's going to go off the course there. Does his best to try and correct it. Started off well, a couple of mistakes there. Okay, looks like he's recovered from those mistakes. He's back online. Watch his in-clip there, great in-clip. To the outside of the course too. Looking pretty good on the second half of the run. But some big mistakes at the beginning, throwing it a bit too hard and over the finish line.
Like the car looks very nervous. When he's initiating or changing direction, you can see that the car is like slightly losing grip, and it's not like really allowing to the driver to do really what he wants to. So this setup is not really nicely prepared for this track. It's very bumpy here, so you really need to prepare the car, and the car is just not. Like the driver have too much work fighting with the car that he cannot be really on the spots where he wants to be, and it will be really visible on the score.
So that little in clip there, yeah. So David, you're right.
It's a 54. It was very low on style.
Yeah, because if you're making so many corrections, then you need to be punished on the style score. Because the style score is about the initiation and also about the transitions and about the fluidity of all track, how it flows. And this was not floating at all. It was like
that's right.
Too many corrections.
Filipino runner here today, and our only one, I believe.
Okay, no, we actually have two. We have another one this run. Tony, he'll be out in a second.
Oh, that's correct. Sorry about that.
So first run out, the 240 SX, Rocket Bunny kit, very shallow line there, great looking car. But he needs to, it's not a car show. These cars need to drift well. Losing a lot of speed in the bottom half of the course.
Actually,
Lewis
it was in diesel zone, but it was just too much.
Yeah. Of course, there are parts of the course where they have to slow down and speed up, but keeping a good average speed throughout the entire course just makes the run look good. Let's watch this entry one more time. So starting nice and early, though, I will say, fairly close to the wall.
Yeah, but he's making mistake as a lot of drivers. He initiates just too early because he's afraid of the wall, and then he did not end up by the wall. You need to initiate slightly later to be, and you need to be like very precise about that. If you're not, then you end up in the wall or too far from the wall, like at this moment.
I haven't actually timed it. How long is it?
Oh,
it's from...
but here we got the score first, 57. Again, not a very impressive score. We got two races. The Russian champion used the top-scoring Russian drifter in last year's FIA.
All right, Russian Drift Series, Arcasha in the R34 Skyline with the R35 engine. Big horsepower, here's the entry. Starts fairly early, extends it out nice and deep. Comes in a bit shallow though. But look at the absolute wall of smoke pouring off. He's hit the
bang there.
He's hit the James Bond smoke screen button. Watch the flick back here as well. Inner clip, outer clip.
Oh, beautiful.
Speed, great amount of speed. I get the feeling he's going to lose points for his line though.
You know, the thing is that Arcasha last year almost took the winning from Kawabata.
Yeah.
And this year it looks that he's like really eager to take it. He got better engine, which is working way better than last year, and he's like even more committed to go on this track. But still, the line was not completely perfect. Will be quite not that close to 100 points like we want to see.
It was a run that started off mysteriously kind of slow, but then it just got better as it went along.
With the power, is not that hard to get faster. You know, this car have a lot of grip. It's really nicely set it up. It have very soft rear end, so if you push the throttle, the car sits on the back, gives the traction to the rear axle, and the car moves forward. So, yeah, it's pretty.
Not exactly the high score we had all hoped for, but still not bad at all from Mr. Arkady Gastev.
Arkasha, as he's known, a lot space for improvement, I'd say.
Like one more run to prove why he was indeed the top-scoring non-Japanese drifter at last year's FIA IDC. Okay, and next we have got our second Filipino runner over here, Mr. Tony Tsuyoshi Arakaki. Let's see how he does.
So Tony, Filipino, based out of Okinawa in Japan, which explains the Tsuyoshi. So he's been involved in drifting for a while now. Here comes his first entry, the S15 Sylvia. Quite late on the entry, but look.
Very late.
Very late. Goes and tags the wall. Big mistake. Not a very confident looking entry for Tony.
It looks that something is wrong with the
There
car.
might be something wrong. He looked much better in practice.
That was not normal what he showed. Like, if you initiate that late and afterwards you go straight, it should not be normal, and it's not normal here.
Oh, and he has actually tagged the wall as well when he came around that first corner. The rear taillight hanging off there. There must be something wrong with the car. Tony was doing much better in practice. Watch this. Watch the rear end of the car right there, just tagging the concrete wall.
And then straightens out like that.
Yeah.
Also conditions quite changed. You know, like 2 days of the trainings, what they had, the temperatures were way higher than they are now.
That's right.
And also maybe he had like pressures prepared for higher temperatures, so he lost the grip. That would be explaining why he opened up that angle too much.
The conditions right now, the track conditions, the temperatures.
It's better because you don't have problems with overheating, you don't have problems with other things of the car, and they have slightly more power with that cold air.
And we have got our final racer for today from the Czech Republic, Mr. Marko Zagouril.
So first run for Marko in his BMW. Wow, already this car looks really fast. Here comes the entry.
Ooh.
Conservative entry out towards the wall, but look at that, all the way down to the track. Wow.
Oh, beautiful.
Sliding along the wall. That's the best wall run we've seen all day so far. Marko Zagouril, great sounding car, turbocharged BMW, in clip, out clip. Nice aggressive run for Marko Zagouril, and over the finish line. The Czech competitor, very strong.
So
David, I can see you smiling.
Yeah, I'm very happy. You know, it's the thing is that when Marko came to here, like everybody was like, oh, Czech Republic, oh yeah, you're just here to make the counts.
All right, yeah.
And now he's showing that he's like serious, and I'm really like to see that.
That was an impressive run.
Pushing it like very far. Like when I was speaking to him, he was asking me for a few advices, and I told him, okay, go on the nice, and then you can build up. And he went first time on the unknown track, and he pulled it to the wall. Really push it hard, and this is his way. So completely new car. Actually, it's not prepared well.
Really?
Yeah, because it's completely new. It's not fine-tuned. It's
now the tie for second place. Impressive scores overall, but of course nobody has yet beaten Gocha's 95. But hey, we still got one more run each to go, so let's see what happens.
Very, very impressed.
The Czech
very,
group.
There's the Czech group there.
And they're happy.
Very
Yeah.
impressed with the Czech. Hey, Dave! It's going to be a collision with the wall once again. Another hit on the wall.
Maybe he's not used to have that overhangs. Like JZX have like kilometers of overhangs.
It is a very long car as far as drift cars go, so yeah, maybe not too familiar with the length. It's getting worse. This JZX, it's starting to look like a wet tissue box on that rear end, all crushed in and yeah, look at this. So once again, hitting that rear end, the wheel not on the wall. Once again, our crew heading out just to make sure that the concrete wall is okay.
Dago will need to work on that car, definitely.
Again, I think he's used to it by now, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is one of Daigo's rental cars.
Flying initiation?
Very late initiation, though.
What's happening?
That was a bit weird. Maybe, I get the feeling that maybe his tyres spun up and he had to back off for a second. Wow, the course has suddenly become a bit slick. It is spitting rain very slightly, but that can have an effect on the track surface.
Maybe it's enough to make the track so slippery.
I think it is. It may have been enough. Okay, so let's watch the replay. I think what happened here is that on the entry, as Naoto shifted up through the gears right about here, the car spun up too much. He had to back off, and that sort of ruined his entry.
As you were pointing out, it's been...
We have the score there, 62 for Naoto Suenaga, so not an improvement on his first run of 86.
62. Oh, talk.
I would say that the sport of the driver is the most important person for him.
Now, let's see how Chen Wenchen from China does on his second run. He scored a not too impressive 54 the first time around.
Here comes the entry from Cheng. Very fast, very deep. He had to straighten out a big collision with the wall there.
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
So the track condition definitely has changed between our last 3 runs. It has changed.
Definitely this slippery.
It's much slicker than it was before. So it's not raining. You can see on the screen there. Like people aren't. Actually, there's a few people you can see in the crowd wearing raincoats. I'd say about 10%. So there's enough rain for it to be, I guess, annoying for some of the crowd. But it can sneak up on you when it's just sprinkling down. It's not enough to make, to be any sort of concern too much to people. But when these cars are doing over 100 kilometers an hour on the entry, up to 130 kilometers an hour on the entry. Actually, I'm not sure what they're doing for this. Yesterday in D1 Grand Prix, similar sort of run up over 130, the top guys. It can make a big difference. And a big collision, the biggest collision we've seen so far in qualifying for Chen Wenchen from China. It's an unfortunate result. He only has a 54 to fall back on after this second run. See our crew out there very quickly. They're going to forklift the car away. So a round of applause from the crowd to Chen, of course, doing his best. That was a big, fast entry. And the hand on the hip, the typical helmet in one hand, hand on the hip the other. The standard racing drivers
Pose.
Well,
if there is, you can tell they don't mean it.
Is there any Conor McGregor sort of talk?
Conor, yeah.
No, that's pure. Ready to go. We have got Mr. Luis Gono from the Philippines, who is going to give it a second try. Let's hope he doesn't wipe out like the previous racer.
Okay, so Lewis, hopefully, as we said before, his spotter let him know the track conditions have changed slightly. Here we go, the entry. Whoa, a bit of a wobble. It's okay, he saved it. Just needs to get the power down, complete his run. Okay, so he's managed to save that. First run for Lewis is 57. Bottom part of the course, he needs to keep his speed up. One of the problems with his first run was quite slow. Okay, in clip, fairly middle line there. This should be an improvement on his first run of 57, but wow, that entry was a bit sketchy. Let's watch the replay.
You could tell he was doing his best to not crash.
There you go, so initiating, almost begins to straighten up.
Brake.
Yeah.
Long e-brake. It was even told on the briefing that if you will do that long e-brake, you will lose a lot of points in the style. So definitely he will lose something there. It was not really in the line where it's enough to be in top 16. I'm a little bit afraid. I think that he would like to repair his run to beat his colleague from Russia.
He would like to be the #1 Russian, that's for sure. Arkady, all the way out to the track. That's going to be a half spin. And look good. No, that was a mistake there. He threw it out way too hard. The rear of the car sliding out, he corrected. So his first run, 83, arcasha, is not going to improve on that this time.
This is what happens. You know, if you want to push it more, it's very easy to over push it, and that's what happened. Like, he wanted to be so close to the wall, to be better than his colleague, that he was just too much close.
He wanted that wall run. Look at this. Looking really good right up until about here. You can see.
Yeah, look at that.
Getting perpendicular to the wall, that is much too much angle for these cars to handle. You can't really keep that going. Inside of the track, recovers there, reinitiates. So he should have been drifting in one big long fluid motion on that corner, not initiating like that.
Also, you need to keep in mind one thing, that you have like first outer zone and second outer zone, and in between cars are going away from the wall. And if you will be there on the wall close in between the zones, there is a lot of particles from used rubbers, a lot of dust, a lot of dirt, and the grip is not there. So it's very easy to lose the grip, open up the angle, what happened directly to arcasha.
Well, he seems quite happy with his run.
Yeah, the first run was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still has the first run to fall back on.
Which was admittedly impressive, but sadly not within the top 3 scores that we've seen so far today. I mean, 83 is not too shabby, but compared to 95, 88, and 85.
If you would be like behind him during the battle, you will be not able to chase that, and it'd have to be called 0.
And now we have got Tony Tsuyoshi Arakaki from the Philippines. Let's see if he can give this a solid second run.
A second run from Tony. Last time he hit the wall. Here we go. Much more speed this time. That's much better from Tony. There we go. Looking a bit more aggressive this time.
Smoother, yes.
Much smoother. Taking kind of a middle line, though.
And way much safer.
Much safer. This is the play to make for Tony. He needs this. He needs to follow this strategy. Just keep it safe. Get a score as best he can. 2 zeros would be way too much to handle. There we go. Completing the run. Actually, not a bad line there for Tony. A little bit slower compared to a lot of the other drivers.
Yeah, if you look
but
at
still,
those
safe run for Tony. Good to see.
The car is not moving from angle to angle as fast as the judges want to see it. So that's like losing some points for the soil. And if you look on the outer zone 1, he's like really not close to the wall at all.
Yeah.
So it would be some points. But the question is if it is enough to go in top 16.
Yeah, that's the question. I don't know if...
It's a question of the day, actually.
Well,
is it enough to get into the top 16?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of this thing right now is, you know, are they going to be good enough to get into qualifying? That's the, exactly what we're trying to answer here right now. So Tony...
42. At least it was... It's better than a 0, but still very much on the low end for today's
that would
tournament.
not be enough to go
I
in
doubt
top
it.
16.
Yeah. A disappointing 3 on speed. Admitted Mr. Marco Zagouril.
He is my new favorite today.
That was a very impressive first run from
Marco's
him.
first run was amazing. And I've got to say, it's the first time I've ever seen Marco drive. Let's see what he can do, if he can back it up on his second run. Was it just one off?
Coming in hard.
Coming in very hard, out to the wall. Just shards of brake light go flying everywhere as he accelerates through the long sweeper. Not even caring about that. Most people would be getting out and crying right now after crashing the rear of their car. But Marco, this is drifting, remember? Clip, out of clip, in a clip, out of clip. Great sounding car, great looking car too. Marco, Czech Republic. Let's watch this run again.
Maybe the line looks better now than it was looking before.
The line, yeah, I think his line was much wider, much more aggressive this time. You can see there, watch the bottom of the screen there. Shards of plastic going flying everywhere.
That was his one blip, wasn't it?
Unfortunately, like I said before, it's possible to hit the wall, but you just cannot change the angle. Mark was not able to prepare the car that it have bendable rear end, so he had a stiff rear end, like with huge beige bar in the back. So he changed the angle because of the hit to the wall. So the line was really good, but he will like lose some points for the change of the angle by hitting that wall.
That's unfortunate.
But I like that.
Oh,
I want to see that more.
Hey, that was a hardcore run there from...
Score 83, unfortunately 5 points down from his first incredible run. Still an impressive score nonetheless.
And you can see that the main putting down is the angle score, and that's because of the correction hitting the wall. So if he did not hit at the wall, we can think about 90-plus run.
Yeah, that wall hit was... Okay. And that's it for all of our solo runs today.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining us here for the FIA Intercontinental Drifting Cup qualifying. It was great to have you here on the internet watching live. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut to an interview with Ryan Lantane, also Robbie Nishida, two of our international guys here. Now, this broadcast, if you're watching on Facebook, will end and it will restart at 3:15 Japan time. So that is about an hour and a half from now. So if you want to jump back on Facebook then, you can do that. If you want